Okay, here we go. Live stream is rolling. Today it's a slightly different live stream. I'm happy to talk about agile topics. So if you have questions, just put them in the comments or in the chat, and I will be happy to answer them. Today I want to focus on the Agile Coach Education program because people had questions about that, and I just wanted to address a few of them. Basically just tell you what it's all about. If you're on the fence of trying to get this, or if you're wondering, is this the right Agile Coach Education for me? Should I get another one? Am I ready yet? Is it the right level for me? Is it the right time in my career to take this or not? So that you can make a decision on that. Which it's important to me that if you take this Agile Coach Education, that it delivers value for you. In fact, what I even want this to be is in a few years, I want you to look back on that moment when you made the decision to join the Agile Coach Education program, that you say, this was a pivotal moment in my life, in my career, in my professional life. This really changed things. This was a real transformation. I somehow had different opportunities, became a different person after that. This is really my goal. This is what I want to achieve. So I want to make sure that you know what you can get out of this and that you really trust this and feel good with it when you make that decision. Because it's an investment you make. Not so much the money, but the time you invest. The time and effort you invest. So let's get into this. So first, the Agile Coach Education program. Some of you might know the, let me check the website. Let me look at this. If you've already seen it, because the website's still there from last year. And let me show you. This is the one you're probably familiar with. Ignore the other stuff. That's just my that's my website theme warning me that a few of the images are too big. So I have to improve that. It's not too bad though. So you already know. I have quotes here from this. Julio is a great alumni from last year, from the 2023 Agile Coach Education program. And for him, actually, this is changing his career path. So this really opened up new opportunities and just made him also see different options. Also see his all the skills he had and he didn't show in the workplace. It's amazing. It's just amazing what it can be. I don't want to go into the details. I don't know how much I can share. I don't have Julio here. Maybe I can get him on one of these sessions in the future. I have to ask him. But it's just amazing what he produced. Right now, if you see his talk, during the Agile Coach Education program, I ask each student to develop a signature, unique keynote. A talk you can take to conferences or to clients directly that will have a certain impact. It's not just teaching about Scrum or SAFe or something. This is really something about the human side. It's about how can you kind of take away the fear that so many people have when it comes to an agile transformation. How can you bring them on your side? And this is different. I want each and every student in the Agile Coach Education program to develop their own unique version of the talk. For me, what I do is, some people have seen that, I have a talk that's called Music and Agility. It's where we play music. Actually, Jens, who is will teach on the Agile Coach Education program, great guy, great Agile coach, very well versed in psychology, in many psychological things. So he has deep insights, but he's also a musician. And what we do is we do a talk where we basically make music and talk about how bands perform on stage. We don't even mention Scrum Masters, agility, backlogs, or anything. Sometimes we do, yes, as a side note, but we don't want to scare people with buzzwords. We want to put them at ease and show them that agility is not that thing where you first have to learn all the jargon and all the tools. Musicians can do that naturally. And this talk is designed to be fun, entertaining, and to take away the fear so that we can start with the Agile transformation. And Julio, for example, and every Agile Coach Education student will do that, developed a talk, a keynote that catered to his strength, to his personal character. He is a very gifted person when it comes to, he does these role-playing games, like he's a, what do you call that, a dungeon master? I hope I'm not using the wrong words. So he can tell stories and create worlds in your mind just by talking to you. It's an amazing skill. And it kind of complements his very deep IT security knowledge that he has. So it opens up a new world. And he's also a very gifted talker because he moderates esports events. So he has these skills that he doesn't use on the job. And now he created a talk, and maybe next time I can show you something from his talk. That's the Agile Wizard. Like, he literally comes on stage in a wizard robe. It's amazing. He has the audience in the first second, okay? He comes with that staff and the wizard robe and talks to you in that dungeon master voice. It's just, you're feeling like you're watching a show on stage. But it's actually a talk that is starting an Agile transformation, that's helping you to move there and helping the whole company, all the teams to move there. And it's tailored, it's very unique to his personality and his skills. This is why it works so well. He couldn't do my talk on music and agility, and I couldn't do his talk. But we cater it to each person's unique, to each person's individuality. And this is what every Agile Coach Education student will do. So you will develop that over the 6 months. It's not the only thing, but this is one thing that you will have as a deliverable at the end. You will have a certificate, of course. We all want certificates. And you will have that keynote talk that you can take and make a name for yourself as an Agile coach at conferences, or right away sell it to companies. Start your Agile transformation efforts and make a name for yourself. Be unique out there. This is one of the goals of this program. And now, maybe, what else do we have? Yeah, there's a lot of stuff on that page. The important stuff for me is here, Agile Transformation Mastery, and you go beyond the frameworks. Because frankly, what I've seen, and I'm just in the process of building a new page where I make this more clear, but going beyond the frameworks is very important to me. Because what makes agility work is not the framework. It's if you know SAFe, and you know Kanban, and you know Scrum, and you know Less, and Nexus, and you know all this stuff, it's not enough to become agile. And those of you who are already tasked with being a Scrum Master or even an Agile coach already know that. These are tools, the frameworks are tools, great tools, but they only make a tiny portion of what actually makes a company or a team agile. What really makes them agile is the human side. It's techniques, it's technical stuff, down to earth, like DevOps, like TDD, BDD, refactoring, red green refactor cycle, branching strategy. Things like that are important. And on the other side, the human side is important. That we how do we create trust? How do we create self-managing teams? It doesn't happen by just calling them self-managing and letting them do whatever they want. How do you create the trust, the psychological safety that's necessary? Why do we even need psychological safety to get to high performance? How can you get managers to trust their teams? Actually trust them, even if they mess up. This is the important part. It's easy to trust people if they always win. But what if they lose occasionally? And how do you build that culture? This is all part of what an Agile coach needs to know. So this is a big focus of this program. And another focus, this is the biggest focus. And other parts are, as I said, the technical agility. Like, how do you really do that? And also the parts above the team. Like, often we only talk about teams and how maybe teams collaborate if you're lucky. But what about the budgeting process? What about the promotion system in a company? What about the roles they have? You need to work with HR on that. How do you do a budgeting? How do you fund project initiatives? How do you do portfolio management? This is all very important if you truly want to be agile, or if you want to help your customers or your company to become agile. So this is all part of the program. And in a second, I'm going to show you the topics that we have in mind. We always adapt the topics depending on what the group of students actually needs. So if we have a group of students and they all are, I don't know, Scrum Masters already, they know the basics of Scrum. We don't have to talk about that. I enjoy talking about Scrum, but if you already know it, we just go into the nuances maybe on top. Or maybe we don't go into frameworks at all. That's also fine. If we have people who are well versed in the frameworks and in the good and bad parts of them, we don't have to spend time on that. We'd rather use that time on something else. What's also important, depending on the interest of the group, of the students, and we limit the group to 10 people so that we really can cater to everyone. The money thing. Like the investment for the Agile Coach Education program, if you're a Scrum Master now, you will get paid back within a year easily, because it's just so much better paid, and you have so much more impact in the way you apply this, that it actually works, that you will easily make your investment in this program back quickly. And also the time investment. Like the time, let's talk about this. This is about 6-month program, but it's not like university where you're 6-month full-time doing it. It's 1 session a week. So we have, let me go back here. We have 1 session a week. That is usually 90 to 120 minutes. So you can easily do that with your normal job. It's easy to follow it. You will need some time to slowly build and prepare your keynote talk, as I said, your signature thing, develop your own character, starting by just developing an idea that's unique to you, that makes you a unique character, which also helps with marketing yourself to the world as an Agile coach. And this is also, when it comes to career, it's not only about the money. It's about how do you approach that? How do you get jobs? Either jobs or clients, depending whether you are freelance or you are looking for permanent contracts in companies. And how do you... Last year, we designed CVs for the coaches. So if that's of interest to you, it's in there. We have a slot for that, but if there's no interest by people, sometimes there isn't, then we can just skip it. And now let's look at some of the topics that I have in mind. And I always have too much what I want to do. It's like a huge backlog. And we prioritize together before we start. We prioritize what we will do. So let me, I can zoom in here. To me, how I like to structure this is, there is one big part that is humans. That's the human aspect. Okay, let's just get an overview first. Then there's the technical part. Okay, this is also often neglected within the frameworks. How do you actually do it? How does test-driven development in hardware work? How does extreme manufacturing work? How does extreme programming work? How do you actually build a DevOps system? And why do we do a test-driven approach? What's the branching strategy if you're into code? It's important to know about that stuff. It's also important to know about the budgeting and portfolio management options that you have. And I see I wrote portfolio. Let me fix that real quick. Portfolio. Better. You have to know your options that you have, like lean budgeting, like seeing investments as, or portfolio as betting, and you're looking for the profit side, not the cost side, and things like that. You have to know how to do that. So we want to do that, of course, like technical things where you also know how to deal with external contractors, how to efficiently do meetings and prepare workshops and all this stuff. That's the technical side. Now I'm already going into the details. Jobs and career, already talked about that. It's also an important part. Frameworks. We want to go beyond frameworks, but a basic knowledge of frameworks is important for an Agile coach. You should know what is available there, what are the benefits and what are the problems and the dangers of frameworks, so that you know how to use these tools. We don't need to go into each and every one of these, and some of them are even not frameworks. So it's just a broad term, frameworks and approaches, I said here. Also, to just bring everyone up to speed if we have different levels in the group. And the transformation. This is also an important part. How do you do an Agile transformation? Because it's not only enough to know what agility would look like once it's there, but you have to sketch a path from where your client or your company is right now to where you want it to be. And there's so much. It starts with job clarification. Like what's the goal of your client anyway with this agility? Sometimes there is a very strange misunderstanding of what agility actually is. So we have to clarify that. We have to make sure that we know what they want to achieve. Because being agile in itself is not enough. There is usually a reason why they want to be agile. And then we can check whether an agile transformation is actually the best way for them to go, the best solution, or how we can approach this agile transformation. Where do we start? What do we focus on? How do we measure it? Metrics, also interesting because metrics are often abused. Common issues that you need to tackle, like lack of trust, bad communication, the old mindset, of course, wrong understanding, I mentioned that. Long and detailed backlogs. Oh yes, that's a huge thing. Often when I come into a company, they already have deep backlogs and they think that now they just start working on them and this is agile then, if they work on them in 2-week chunks, which of course is not. Budgeting, I mentioned that already. Here are the tools we have. Also games. I like games to teach people, to get them a feel for what things mean. If you do like little games, sometimes it's very short games, brief games like that you can do in 2 minutes. Like I like the multitasking game to show people how inefficient multitasking is. And there's a simple game. I'm going to teach it to you right now. So you just ask one person, you pick one person, that might be a skeptic about that you should do multiple things at once. Why not? You ask them to do 2 little projects. The first project they need to do is count from 1 to 10 as fast as they can. Go. And you let them do that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Perfect. Fast, high quality. Perfect. Now, second project. Name the letters from A to J in the alphabet. As fast as you can. Go. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J. Perfect. Wonderful. 2 projects done, high quality. Now, let's optimize things and let's parallelize things. Let's do the 2 projects simultaneously. So you go 1A, 2B, 3C as fast as you can. Go. And then watch them struggle. You won't need to say another word. They will immediately have felt the impact of multitasking on performance. Because what usually happens is the combined, when they do it in parallel, they take more than twice as long than one of these projects took. So doing one after the other was quicker, and usually they make mistakes when they do the combination stuff. And they immediately get, you don't need to explain it to them, but they immediately get what switching costs, switching overhead means. Because they need to remember, what was the number that I stopped? And they see how stressful it is compared to doing one project after the other. So this is just an easy thing to have up your sleeve as a tool if you encounter people who insist on doing maximum parallelization. Now, parallelization is good, but not on single people. Like, people are not good in multitasking. You can totally, and you should, have multiple things going on in parallel, but you have to make sure that this works without letting the people jump between the teams and between the projects, because this will burn out people. Usually your best people, the experts, are usually the ones who have to jump. It's a lot of switching costs, a lot of overhead, a lot of stress, and things fall between the cracks. But I also go into bigger games, like games where you have half a day of teaching people Scrum, letting them experience it with a fun project, with traveling to Mars. That's one that I like to do, the guide for Martians. There are other games, the typical ballpoint game and all that. Last year, with the Agile Coach Education program, we had an on-site weekend, and we spent that in Paris. Because if you learn and you want to spend time together, and you want to, all the people were from Europe, so when where could you meet? And any place is as good as any other. So we said, why not Paris? Let's enjoy it. So we went to Paris, and we actually played the ballpoint game in the park next to the Louvre. I always forget the name, I'm sorry, of the park. Next to the Louvre, we played that ballpoint game. It was a little dusty because it was in the summer and all the dust gets kicked up by the people walking around. But we had the balls and we were throwing them around, spinning ideas. We were actually, I can remember that an hour later we were sitting in a cafe in that same park, just like having delicious glass of wine, red wine in Paris. And we were talking about scaling models, agile scaling frameworks, particularly SAFe. We were talking about that, discussing it back and forth. And suddenly a couple next to us said, whoa, hey, we are actually, we are doing SAFe in our US company. It's so interesting to hear you guys talk about that. It's just amazing what can happen. And I would love to do a weekend like this again. Maybe Paris again. Paris is beautiful, but I'm open for anything. It largely depends on where people are coming from in the world that we can do this. Maybe we can do multiple if it's on different continents. But it's just so much fun, and we learned so much and we enjoyed it. It didn't feel like work, but I think we got a lot of ground covered on that Paris weekend. And yeah, usually what we do, in addition to the weekly sessions, the weekly evening sessions, we do, or it was evening last year. We could totally do, I don't know, lunchtime sessions if that fits your schedule better, but we have to talk about it. So as soon as people have signed up, we just discuss the options and we find something that works for everybody. And then we also have one weekend session per month. So every month we pick a time, maybe Saturday mornings, 3 hours. And then we can also do a session. We can oftentimes in these sessions go more into your keynote presentations or into workshops, just trying things out, playing through games that you might use to teach agility to others, playing through situations. We just have a little more time then. And we do that once a month. And one of these sessions, at least one, I would love to do on site again somewhere where we can meet. And if we're lucky, it will be a beautiful place and a beautiful weekend like it was last year again. So these are the big topics. And to get a little more into the details, I talked about the frameworks. And again, this is, to me, if you already know it, we can skip it. What we need to do anyway is to talk about the use of frameworks and the abuse of frameworks. Because they are, as I said, they are a small part. I would say it's 10% of what makes you agile, if at all, is the framework. The other stuff is so much more important here. How do you do it? Technical, and the most important stuff is the human side. It's understanding that the human side is the important thing here. So first of all, it's, what makes agility work? The view of the human being. Mindset is thrown around a lot. And what nags me all the time when I see other agile coaches who didn't go through my program, when I see them just talk about the mindset. To me, that feels like they are talking about a unicorn. They are telling the company, hey, go catch a unicorn, and when you got one, then you can come back to me and I'm going to give you the frameworks to work with that unicorn. That's crazy. Your job as an agile coach, our job, is it not to tell them to go find a unicorn? There are no unicorns out there. Where do you find them? And then the agile coaches usually go on. Not everyone, but I've seen plenty of this kind of coaches. And this is part of what inspired this program here. Then they come and they tell you about the Agile Manifesto. They tell you the values of openness, respect. So this is what the Agile mindset is. It's respect, openness, courage. It's all that. And to me, this sounds like they are now describing the unicorn to you. They are describing, it has a unicorn, it has a colored mane, colored hair, it's white, it looks like a horse. That's how they then describe it. But this doesn't help the company to find a unicorn, let alone catch it. And our job as agile coaches, as agile practitioners, is it to help the company? Where can you find that unicorn? How do you catch it? How do you make that mindset? How do you create these values in your company? That's important. And we need real actionable steps to do that. If you want courage, you cannot simply tell people be courageous. I once heard a VP tell their people, now we are agile, you need to be more courageous. And I was I had to calm myself down, because just telling people to be more courageous, they will not be more courageous. Try it with anybody. What you need to do is you need to make sure that you have You build psychological safety and trust and all these things, and how you build them, how you exactly do that. Like, you can start to build trust with maybe the personal history exercise. This is the first thing, a lifeline exercise. You model certain behavior. When someone makes a mistake, you step up as a leader and you own it. And even if the person messed up, you have to applaud them. Things like that. Tangible things, how you do it, the exercises, how you can slowly build trust, build psychological safety, and then courage and commitment will follow. But you cannot simply put that into existence by saying it. And this is why I focus a lot on that stuff. And Jens, the psychology expert, Jens Hilzensauer, he supports me a lot on that, because you see, if I talk about the human side, I would you can put that into different buckets. It's understanding people and resistance. It's the psychology. It's really understanding the individual. It's also, by the way, understanding yourself, because my belief is you cannot lead other people. Coaching is also leading. You cannot lead other people unless you first learn to lead yourself. And leading ourselves is a lifelong journey, as we all know. So understanding why we do the things we do, why we have certain habits, how we can deal with our emotions. This is important, how we can lead ourselves, how we can create high performance for ourselves. Yesterday was World Happiness Day. And one important thing for happiness is to stop that negative chatter in your mind where you constantly beat up yourself. Especially high performers often beat up themselves. They are very mean to themselves because they think this would create high performance. But what it actually creates is procrastination. They are not doing themselves a favor. Be more compassionate with yourself actually leads to high performance. And there are tricks how you can do that. You can learn how to lead yourself. By that, you also learn how other people work inside, how motivation works, where habits come from, how the psychology of all that works, why people show resistance, sometimes fierce resistance, to your efforts as an agile coach, and how you can deal with that and even take these resisting people. In my experience, these are often the people who are then the biggest evangelists of the agile transformation. But you have to know how to understand them and how to get them on your side. Or, maybe it's not get them on your side, it's just understanding that you're on the same side. But there are techniques to do that. And Jens helps me a lot on that, especially the individual. And then we also go to the team level, like what do I do in teams? Sometimes we have problems in teams, we have conflict. Is conflict always bad, or is it good? When should a leader step in, even if it's a self-managing team? I've heard that question from managers quite a few times. Like, okay, they are self-managing, but am I still allowed to step in certain cases? Yes, you are, and you must step in. You just have to know how to do it. There are so many things. And then how do you deal with management? They are humans too, managers and leaders. It's good to understand what pressure they feel and how to deal with them, and the job they have in the company. And it's also coaching techniques in general, how you can do that. There's a lot on that. And it all builds on understanding what makes agility work and how humans work. This is important. This understanding how humans work is not just a nice add-on because you think, oh, it's morally right to treat people correctly or something. No, it's hard business facts. If you treat people that way, if they feel trusted, if they feel safe, if they even enjoy work, if they have fun, if they laugh, they are more high performing, they are more innovative, they will create the company bigger profits. So it's just in the very own business sense of the company and the business goals that you should understand how people work, how motivation works. And that, for example, bonuses to control behavior of people is a no-no. It doesn't achieve what you want to achieve if you want your company to thrive. And as Agile coaches, we have to know that, understand that. And I think many of you who are watching probably already understand that. But then the next step is, how can we make that clear to clients, and how can we actually establish a culture where certain understandings, views of the human being and so on are established, so that we can get to high performance. And then we can use all these techniques here. I mentioned a few, like it's TDD, BDD. I'm a big fan of test-driven, test-first development. Many software developers and hardware developers still think that test-first development is a utopia, it's a dream, it's not practical. But that's not true. All the valuable companies in the world prove it. Tesla does test-driven development, test-first development in hardware. Literally every great software development team does test-first development. And yes, there are cases where you do not do test-first. I've been in the trap myself. You have to know when and why and how to do it. And you also have to know how to structure that in teams. I just put out a post a few days ago about a QA team, the quality assurance team, and how many companies misunderstand how that works. Or misunderstand when it comes to agility. In the classical sense, it made sense to have a separate maybe QA team, and also a QA team tested the stuff. But that is not what makes sense in an agile environment, because it slows you down too much. You are not agile anymore if you have a separate test team. So how does test-driven development work? Do we still need a QA team? Yes, usually we do, if we're a bigger company. But what the QA team does is completely different. They will not do the tests. And we have to understand how that works technically, down to earth, and how the CI/CD pipelines, DevOps, all the stuff, how we deal with dependencies, a big issue, dependencies. Usually when I go into companies, and I've worked with real big global leaders, they have lots of dependencies, and they are almost proud of them. I mean, they are not proud of them. They know that they are a big problem, but they see it as kind of, it's just so complex what we are building, so there are these dependencies, and we look at how well we can manage them. Usually not that well, but the thing that they always first think about managing it is striking, because what you should do when you see dependencies is you should immediately try to eliminate them. How can you eliminate them? And there are many ways how you can do that, and we have to look into that. And yes, you cannot eliminate every dependency. There will be some you have to manage, but just managing every crap that comes your way without thinking whether you could throw it out, that's not the right way to go. Things like that. On the job side, if you're interested in that this could also be part of the program. Last year it was. So we built Agile Coach CVs. We can talk about other certifications. Sometimes people ask which certifications make sense, which do I need, depending on my goals and circumstances. Also that. And by the way, as an alumni, if you went through the Agile Coach Education program, we are a very tightly knit network. So we stay in contact, and there is even an option that you can have Jens or me basically on your job when you do a contract with a client, and we are there, have your back anytime. So there is this option that you could pick if you want to do that afterwards. But even without that, we will just be there. We will be a community. And so whenever you want to intensify that again, you can do that. You have access to that network and also to the network of other coaches who can bring in other potential projects and all the stuff. So that's an overview of what we do in these 6 months of Agile Coach Education program. Again, it's not 6 months full time. It's 1 evening a week, so that you can easily do it in parallel with your normal job. We don't expect people to take a 6 month sabbatical, basically. That's not what you need to do. It's just an evening session a week, and it's 1 monthly weekend session, so that we can intensify things. And when exactly we do this will depend on you as a participant. So you can tell us your wishes, and we get the wishes from all participants. Right now, it looks like it's going to be a Tuesday or Wednesday night. When we do that, then or evening, that looks good. But if it doesn't fit your schedule, we might find other slots. And if we can't find any slots that fit all the participants, then we will just offer two different slots for people to join. That's not a problem. So just for those who are asking, when will the sessions be? So we will clarify that with you, and we will make sure that it fits your wishes, your schedule. Should we somehow not make it work, then we will figure out a solution. Okay, we will definitely find a solution for you to make that work. And with that, I want to open the round for questions. So put questions in the comments if you have questions about the Agile Coach Education program, about any of the topics, or if you say there are a few topics missing, there is important stuff missing that I want to have in here. For example, what I know, what is a common request is some people like to learn about design thinking, about this approach more, about product management, which is also part of the technical stuff. It's how do you do that? How do you do how you technically develop an innovative product that people actually want to buy? Or when it comes to leadership, is how do I manage self-managing teams? We need, as Agile coaches, we need to know, because we need to teach it to managers. And we also need to teach all the skills. We need to help them to manage themselves, to lead themselves, and lead others. So there are so many things. And we distribute that across the 6 months. And after the 6 months, you will graduate with your own unique keynote talk that is really tailored to your personality. You will have that usually ready. Some come out and have it almost ready, like it's a first MVP that you can already take to meetups or to a conference, and then hone it. It's never finished. You know that. You will get feedback the first time you do it, and you will improve it. But while you do it, you will already make a name for yourself. You will already create a brand for you as an Agile coach. Like now, I'm just waiting for the day when Julio, the alumni from last year, changes his, his profile image to a wizard or wizard hat, because he's now the Agile wizard. This is such a strong thing. It's so beautiful. Let me see if I can, maybe I can find it for you. And let me see. Maybe I can. Let me check if I can find something from Julio that I could show you, because that would be wonderful actually. Oh yeah, here I got a talk from him, and here is the, let me see if that works. Yeah, there is the, I don't know if you can hear it though. Let me check. But you can at least see it. You see his wizard hat. It's amazing. I hope Julio is okay that I show this. It's so amazing what he does with this talk. And just imagine him live on stage. Like, he does that virtual, but he also does it on stage. And now we just didn't listen to him. If you listen to his voice doing that, it's so amazing, because he's, as I said, he's a dungeon master. He moderates esports events. So he's just very, very skilled in telling stories. And when he does the Agile Wizard, you really think there is a true wizard in front of you. It's wonderful. And he takes away all the fear that people might have with agility. He explains the concept in a way that is very intuitive and is not scary and doesn't ask you to learn all the buzzwords. So that's wonderful. It will be different for everyone. For me, it's usually I do it with music. It's a completely different thing. When I get on stage with my fur coat, my sunglasses, and then we just do music with the audience. But it's the same purpose. And should you join the ACE program this year, you will also develop your own unique talk that caters to your personality. And I'm excited to see what your skills are that might be dormant right now, because many people don't show certain skills at work. So maybe you are an esports moderator and a dungeon master, but you don't show that in your usual work. Or like me, you're a musician. And for years, I've refused to show that side in the business world. When I was in Silicon Valley, there working with companies. When I was in Europe and coaching companies, I refused to show that side. And once I started to include that, to merge that unique character of mine with it, with the business side, it got to a whole different level. It was more fun. It was more impactful. I could create more value. And I just immediately, instantly, out of nothing, had a better recognizability out there. So I want that for you as well. This is what the Agile Coach Education program is. Not just a it's not. Oh, let me show the banner. By the way, if you don't know the page, it's not just teaching you a bunch of frameworks and stuff. That's not what this is about. Yes, we learn about the frameworks if you need to, but what this is really about is this is supposed to be a transformational journey. As I said, this is supposed to be something that I want you to look back on this in 5 years' time and say, this was a pivotal moment. This was when my career, my life changed for the better. This is what I want this to be. And to really, starting with that unique keynote talk that you will develop, that really shows your personality, so that you are not just one other Agile coach like so many out there, but that you are the coach that does that. That you are the Agile Wizard, like Julio is now. He's the Agile Wizard. I'm the, I don't know, what would you call me? The Agile music guy, whatever. The Agile TikToker sometimes. People associate me with that. But you will kind of automatically build a brand for yourself. And you will be distinguishable from the rest of the people who are just, we need 5 other Agile coaches. No, you will be unique and valuable. And it will be more fun along the way. That's the great thing. This is what Jens and me want to achieve with this Agile Coach Education program. So if you want to join, just head on over to the site. You can either buy it right away, which saves you some money, or you can pay with monthly installments. So it's a payment plan if you prefer to do that. Oftentimes, if you're employed somewhere, your employer might even pay for that. For some people, the employer does it. You just ask for it, and they will pay 100% of that. So it's no cost for you. Yeah, and we will start the whole program. The 6-month will start this spring. So end of April, beginning of May. That's the date we start, and then you can also get on your journey to kind of go on from, I don't know, being a mediocre Agile coach or being a Scrum Master, being treated like a project manager, even if you know that this is not the job you should do. This is the chance to step up and to really make a name for yourself, to change your career, but also to change the life of others. This is ultimately what this is about. This is for you to go to companies, to go to teams, and to help them uncover their hidden potential and really get into high performance and build great products. Essentially, it's helping to make this world a better place. This is what this is all about. And you will just play a big role after that program in making that happen. And with that, I'm gonna end this 1-hour talk. If you tuned in a little later, you can watch this as a replay. I think LinkedIn always saves it. It's also saved on the YouTube channel. So you can watch it from the beginning if you're interested. You can go to the website. If you have further questions, just don't hesitate to send me a message on LinkedIn or something and just ask. Also, you can get on the waiting list, and then get occasional further informations about what's happening, when it's starting, and then you can also reply it in an email to me and ask questions, other wishes. And I look forward to seeing some of you on that Agile Coach Education journey to really, really make an impact for the people we coach, for the people we care for our clients, for the companies, for the teams, and really make this world a better place. Okay, thank you all for joining, and see you next time in the next live stream. Bye.